We're back with Nadhiya Ito, speech language pathologist. We're continuing with our interview. Next question. When you work with kids with literacy or language delays, do you tend to check up on them after they've reached their goal once they finish their therapy? If so, how many times?
Well, when my clients graduate from speech therapy, okay, I've mentioned that I work for a private practice. What's nice about being in a private practice is that this is a family-centered, practice. So we get to, communicate with the family, and I feel like it's a long-lasting relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, oftentimes I do hear, back from the, families, oh, my son's doing, this, or, oh, my daughter was in this play, and, you
Awesome.
know, um, or sometimes they visit, I often receive Christmas cards.
That's
And I
awesome.
sometimes like check up on them.
Yeah.
There's no like set frequency, but
Mm-hmm.
I do hear from them, and I enjoy that.
That's
And one
awesome.
time I remember a family whose son started not talking when he was 2, and I think I worked with him for 4 years. And one year, once he graduated from here, and then they visited us, and the father said, Miss Nadia, my son talks back to me, and it's all your fault. But that
That's
was a
awesome.
nice compliment.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. The next question is, a student wanted to know, there are
Mm-hmm.
claims that there is some research out there to support the idea that if appropriate interventions are done at an early age, that the typical symptoms of ASD or even Down syndrome will either be greatly reduced or even eliminated, thus, quote unquote, curing autism. While this may sound almost too good to be true, what have you heard about this?
So early intervention does make a difference, that I have to point out, and therapy works. And so a lot of things that our children may exhibit, like the difficulty, in social communication or language or speech, they do make progress, and many of the symptoms you may say that may be eliminated or reduced. However, there's no cure to autism, and you mentioned Down syndrome, so there's no
Yeah,
cure to Down syndrome as well.
okay.
But therapy definitely works, and early intervention definitely works.
Definitely. We can attest to that. Okay, next question. Thanks so much. Is there a program that students can join to help them understand more about this field?
There's a student organization called NISLA, um, that you can join. It's a national organization for speech and language hearing association students, who are in the field. If you go to, I don't recall their website, but if you go to asha.org, asha.org, I'm sure there's a link to NISLA, which is the student body organization. And many universities that have the speech and language pathology program should have a chapter.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
good to know. I always encourage students to branch out and to connect to resources outside of the school.
Oh, and then one more thing, like we do have national conferences every year,
Awesome.
and ASHA is the American Speech and Language Hearing Association. They have different caucus
Oh,
groups,
that's
and I'm
awesome.
actually a part of Asian Pacific Islanders Caucus. I've been a member
Awesome.
for a long time now, and I joined the group as a student.
Oh, wow.
So that's something students can do too. You can be a student member so that you can network, with different cultural groups.
That's awesome. Thank you for that
Mm-hmm.
reference. And then finally, our last question, what advice would you give to college students in communication, disorder, and sciences majors?
I would say that, work hard, never give up. I know that it's been very, very difficult, to get into grad schools these days, but don't give up. But I would also say that, get a lot of experience, experiences, volunteering. We have a lot of, students that come here to the clinic and, volunteer during the summer, or, a social skills program, or even just to shadow a clinician here. I think the hands-on experience make a huge difference.
Great. Thank you so much for taking this time to tell us about what you do, your passion for speech and language pathology, and things that we can do to help support our uniquely abled students. Thank you so much, Nadia. Have a great
Thank you.
day.